What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at the TRC Knives Apocalypse. This particular version of the knife comes in the Apocalyptic finish. It's this, it's like, it almost looks rusted, right? But it's not rust, right? But I think it's a really nice finish. What the maker of TRC says is that the advantage of having an apocalyptic finish is that the more you use it and the more scars it has, the more apocalyptic it looks. So you keep having the apocalyptic, you just increase the apocalyptic look. But before we get started, let me show you. This is one of my not one of my, I think this is the largest fixed blade in my collection. I generally don't go much bigger than this, at least for what I use them, for camping, bushcraft, that kind of thing. I don't need anything bigger than this, but it's still a pretty big knife. We're coming in at, well, damn near 12 inches overall, with a blade that is just shy of 7 inches, 6 3/4 basically. So it's a pretty big knife. It's a 1/4 inch thick of Elmax steel. I don't know if you can tell, it has a 1/4 inch of Elmax steel. And this knife has become one of my favorite knives, and you can see I've used it, and it has its own new scars. And I'll let you know here in this review why I think it's such a good knife. For fixed blade, I always say that it's hard to do size comparisons against other fixed blades, because I don't think there's a ubiquitous fixed blade in everybody's collection. At least I don't think. If you disagree, tell me below, because I'd love some suggestions on which would be a good fixed blade to have a size comparison with. So until I get a good suggestion, I'm just gonna compare it to my typical folding knife. So that's against the Parrot 2. And this is against the Benchmade Bug Out. So it's a huge blade. It's a huge blade. It's meant for really hard use tasks. And it's just a beast. Now, when we talk ergonomics, okay, this is one of the best knives I have ergonomically. It fits my hand really well. It has micarta scales that are thick, so it just fits my hand really, really well. It has this forward finger choil. Now, you're not gonna use this knife for many harder tasks, but in reality is that when you're choked up here, okay, you can. I usually have two knives, one larger blade and one smaller blade, and I usually use the smaller blade for finer tasks. But choked up here, it's actually a fairly decent position for some finer tasks, especially because the balance, it moves towards more of the center of the blade, so it feels really, really good in this position for doing whatever you need to do. So I think the ergonomics are really good. It has a neutral handle, so it works in a variety of grips. If you hammer grip, saber grip, choked up, reverse hammer grip, all of those work really, really good on this knife. So ergonomics, I think are really, really good. Probably not quite as good as Bark River, because they've got that contoured Coke bottle type shape to their handles, which I really, really enjoy. But the micarta on this, it's a matte finish textured micarta, and that gives me a really solid purchase. And the texturing of the micarta just lends itself to having a really, really good grip. Now, cutting with this, so this is meant for harder use cutting tasks, right? It's meant to be heavily used. So, and in that sense, that's why it's one of the best knives in my collection, because for processing wood, for chopping, for batoning through wood, for wood processing, is one of the best. And it's one of the best because of this. I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can. It has like this thicker portion of the blade. It has a swedge that comes down the spine of the knife, and then it gets thick right at the tip. So what you do is you have this batoning, right, and your piece of wood is somewhere here in the middle, and the only thing sticking out is usually the tip of the knife, and that's the thing that you're banging with your baton, right? You're hitting right here, and when you're doing that, you're hitting this area that is stronger, that is wider, that is thicker. So it does two things, right? It protects the knife. It protects the knife from damage because you're hitting a thing that is a portion of steel that is thicker. And the other thing that it does is it also protects your baton, right? Because when it's really thin, sometimes you hit your batoning with another piece of wood, is what you usually use, and you destroy your baton while batoning. So this is an excellent knife for batoning. I haven't seen any other knife that does that. And for a lot of these knives that are bushcrafting knives that are, the fact that they don't do that is just, I think it's a really, really nice feature of this knife. Oh, I love the apocalyptic symbol that they use. I thought I'd point that out. Let me hold it here for a little bit. Now, fit and finish. So these are made in Lithuania, I believe, and their fit and finish is just really, really good. They use Elmax steel. They're a European company, and Elmax is used in Europe quite a bit. But Elmax is really a really great choice. Elmax is one of those, really well-rounded steels. Probably not quite as nice as M390, but really up there in terms of a balanced knife between toughness and corrosion resistance and edge retention and all of those things. And the heat treatment that they've done is actually really, really good. I've used this knife extensively. You can tell that my card is this is not oiled, this is just from use. And I've sharpened this a number of times, and I think the heat treatment of this is really, really good. The edge retention is really good. But the use of Elmax is one of the things I really like that they use in this knife. The airing of grievances. What do I not like about the knife? Not a lot. It's a fairly, I think it's a fairly attractive knife for a fixed blade. I like some of the features that they've done. I like the apocalyptic finish. I don't think, the more I've used it, you get some scars on it, but that just makes it look even cooler. So there's not a lot I don't like. The one thing I will say is that I hate the sheath that it comes with. Now, it's a Kydex sheath, okay? And I hate Kydex sheaths, the plasticky feel of a knife going in and out. If you get a little bit of sand in your Kydex, then it scratches the heck out of it. And I understand that they're tools and nothing will happen to it, but I don't like to scratch my knife for no reason. Okay, I like if I scratch my knife while in use, that's what they're for. That's what you're supposed to use your stuff, right? But I don't like Kydex, so I had this sheath made, and it just fits it really, really well. And I much rather carry it on a leather sheath. So this is the one that I decided to use. They do sell a black leather sheath for this knife directly from TRC. I don't like black leather, so I prefer the brown leather for the stuff that I use. Like I said, I use it for more camping type applications, and I think just leather is just this leather sheath is just a much better choice for it. I enjoy using leather a lot more. Well, I would say that this is probably the best large knife that I have in my collection. I have a number of others, the Rickender Ranch, the Chris Reeve Pacific, but the grind that you have on this, the swedge, or not the swedge, the swell that you get right here, the use of steel, the micarta, the fit and finish, I think this is probably my favorite large fixed blade out of my entire collection. So I would highly recommend. I have other TRC knives. I will review them here shortly. but I would say that they are an excellent brand, and if you've ever thought about trying them out, I would say go for it. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I would caution you that I hate Kydex Sheath, and if you don't like Kydex Sheath, that's what it comes with, so you're gonna have to invest in an aftermarket sheath. Well, guys, there you have it. That's the review of the TRC Knives Apocalypse in the apocalyptic finish. If you liked it, like, subscribe, and until you see you again, take care.